It's a part of our heritage, and it's a part of what makes us who we are, that we do not forget, and we remember, and that we honor the sacrifice of those who gave it all, who paid the ultimate price to allow us to do what we're doing today.
I think that it's always important to remember those who have given the ultimate sacrifice.
A very patriotic event and still a memorial. And so, yes, it's emotional.
If we don't remember them, then I don't think we're the kind of country that people want to live in. That we don't send them to harm's way and then forget them. That we remember them. We want to make sure that we honor them.
Nathan Sanford, T. Scarborough.
They could have been doctors, lawyers, could have cured cancer. We don't know what they could have done, but they did the ultimate. They saved America.
Not just for the families and for the friends, but for society in general.
Murray Earlbert, Stanley Hust.
It's a statement of who we are as a nation, that we would have a day set aside to remember those who have paid the price for our freedom.
Fred Jones.
You can be electrocuted, you can be killed easily.
Pine Belt Tough picks up with high electric line workers. Linemen are the epitome of Pine Belt Tough, a job that requires men to be part carpenter, part electrical engineer, and part acrobat.
If you're afraid of heights, this probably wouldn't be something you'd be interested in.
Gerald Williamson with Pearl River Valley Electric Power Association says when there is no storm damage to contend with, his crew spends its days maintaining the almost 7,000 miles of power lines in their 12-county territory. Crews spend several years training just to work the line.
They have to go through a 5 to 7 year apprenticeship before they're even allowed to be in a bucket by themselves. So it's a long process, but it's a necessary process to make sure that they're competent when they get in that position.
On a light day, a crew may change out power poles that have gone bad. Step 1 is unloading the new pole from the truck with a hoist, then framing the new pole with hardware to match the old pole.
When we come out here and change a pole out, we've got to frame that pole back just like the one that's there. So that's why we got to look at the old pole to see the way it's framed and frame the new pole like that, so when we set it in, everything works back correctly.
That's where the carpentry comes in. Drilling, attaching grounds, insulators, and other hardware. Then carefully, the linemen and the buckets remove and spread the live wires from the old pole.
On top is what we call a three-phase line. It has 7,200 volts on each line. You have to work them separately. If they get together or anything like that, you'll have an arc that could cause injury or death.
Once the 3 live or hot lines are spread apart, the guys on the ground remove the old rotted pole, which requires some delicate maneuvering. Next, the hole is drilled out to make room for the new power pole. Then the new pole is connected to the hoist to be guided into position. Williamson says during power outages from storm damage, many people don't realize what it takes to restore power.
Everything we do in all of our lines aren't on public roads. They may be off in the woods or places where you can't actually see where the damage is at. Plus, you got safety issues you got to follow when you go to get lines back on. You just can't come out there and find a line down and say, okay, we're going to jerk it up real quick.
With the new pole on the ground, the guys in the buckets go to reconnecting the lines very carefully.
You don't touch more than one thing at a time when you're up there.
The lowered and spread lines have to be ratcheted back into place, one at a time. New connectors like the old ones have to be replaced, which begins to look like an electric ballet of bucket trucks, 60 to 120 feet off the ground, and it's close quarters. Williamson says having an experienced team is critical to safety.
Trust is very important on a crew or in this industry period, because literally you're putting your life in someone else's hands on a regular basis.
And when it comes to the next storm or major outage, these crews could be sent just about anywhere to help.
Co-ops from other states and or even part of our state, if they have problems and it's more than they can handle, they can notify us.
And in our book, that makes linemen Pine Belt tough. For 7 on Your Side, I'm Christopher Harkey.
The old saying, guilty by association, has caught up with several of them in Marion County this past weekend.
Let me see some hands!
Marion County law enforcement pulled together in a concerted effort to take drug dealers off the streets, and none of them seemed too happy about it.
Come on, count. Get my don't know if I'm a snitch or not.
Feel bad for her because she can't get up.
The son might be a snitch. How many charges he got? Ain't got many, just think. I ain't no.
Nonetheless, the operation was a success.
20 individuals picked up on various drug charges in Marion County. Investigation span as far back as 2 years.
The operation swept up over $6,000 worth of cocaine alone, several thousand in cash, and numerous firearms. But the high-risk service of search warrants couldn't work without the union of several agencies.
This past weekend was such a success was because of the good working relationship that we have with the Marion County Sheriff's Office and the Columbia Police Department.
The entry teams used the element of surprise to shock and awe their targets into submission. Many of these drug houses are where small children call home, each of them sharing the risk of the parents who placed them there.
It also brings to light the problems we're having in the community because these things are taking place within 1,500 feet of the schools, with firearms, with children.
That is not mine. God knows on my children that ain't mine.
The proximity of these drug havens to schools and churches adds what are called enhancements. Each doubles the fine and jail time for those who were sentenced. The 20-plus offenders made their initial appearances in court Monday, some taunting their gang affiliations. But for every 20 behind bars, there's surely 20 still on the streets.
We've got to keep chipping away at it. If we don't, the drugs just take over. Won't be a good place for anyone to live.
And for those that take the risk of chipping away at it, the job is seemingly never finished. For 7 on Your Side, I'm Christopher Harkey.